Iran signals a major escalation, with Mojtaba Khamenei set to unveil a weapon it claims enemies should fear deeply. Iran's navy says a powerful new weapon is already positioned close to enemy forces, raising tensions across the region. Questions mount over whether US and Israeli forces face new risks as Iran hints at deploying a surprise advanced weapon. Tehran warns of an unprecedented response, accusing the United States of maritime piracy amid the escalating Gulf confrontation. Iran issues a stark warning, saying any new round of war would be catastrophic and could severely damage the United States. Tensions continue to rise in West Asia as Iran signals fresh military moves while the United States pushes ahead with its blockade strategy. Iran's Navy commander, Shahram Irani, says Tehran will soon unveil a new weapon aimed at its adversaries. His remarks were reported by Press TV on April 29, the same day Donald Trump defended the US blockade as genius and foolproof. Admiral Shahram Irani said, and I quote, "The Islamic Republic will very soon confront the enemy with a weapon it is deeply afraid of. And it is right next to them, too. I hope they won't have a heart attack," unquote. Irani warned that the weapon system is already positioned close to enemy forces and could be deployed without prior notice. He mocked recent attacks on Iran, saying expectations of quick victories have now become a subject of ridicule. The naval chief highlighted retaliatory operations, including missile strikes targeting the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. According to Irani, those strikes disrupted U.S. air operations and reduced the carrier's operational effectiveness during the confrontation. He added that Iran's forces carried out at least 100 waves of strikes across the region following the escalation. Irani also claimed U.S. forces expanded their naval deployments but have failed to achieve meaningful results so far. Meanwhile, Trump has reiterated his intention to continue the Strait of Hormuz blockade despite rising tensions in the region.
We're not going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And we've knocked out their Navy, we've knocked out their Air Force, we've knocked out their anti-aircraft, everything, apparatus, everything they have, their radar, they have very little left. And they have some missiles, a small percentage. They have a small percentage of missile-making facilities. We knocked out about 80% of them. The rest could come very quickly if we don't make a deal. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They know it, and just about everybody else does.
President, regarding Iran, how long are you prepared to maintain the blockade? Could that go several more months?
Well, the blockade is genius, okay? The blockade has been 100% foolproof. It shows how good our Navy is, I can tell you that. Nobody's going to play games. We have the greatest military in the world, and I built much of it during my first term, and we've been building it since. And the greatest anywhere in the world, nobody even close. And you see that whether it's Venezuela, and they have a good military in Venezuela, but it was over in one day. It was actually over in about 48 minutes. Iran, the same thing. I mean, militarily, we've wiped them out. They have no military left. It's all the Navy's at the bottom of the sea. The Air Force is never going to fly again. We've got an amazing military. Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, "We give up. We give up." But their economy is really in trouble. So it's a dead economy.
Will Operation Economic Fury and the blockade get Iran to nuclear talks fast enough, or do you think another wave of strikes will be necessary?
I don't know. It depends. We have talks. We're having talks with them now, and we're not flying anymore with 18-hour flights every time we want to see a piece of paper. We're doing it telephonically, and it's very nice. I make a call, or I have my people make a call, and you know the answer. I always like face-to-face. I consider it better. But when you have to fly 18 hours every time you want to have a meeting, and you know what the meeting's all about, and you know they're going to give you a piece of paper that you don't like before you even leave, it's ridiculous. They've come a long way. The question is whether or not they're going to go far enough. So at this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
Meanwhile, senior Iranian advisor Mohsen Rezai has warned that any renewed conflict would be catastrophic for the United States. Mohsen Rezai said, and I quote, history will record that the Iranian nation sank the American superpower in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, unquote. Rizoi said American forces could face heavy losses, including the possible capture of troops in a wider confrontation. He claimed Iran has retained significant military capability despite recent attacks, according to Press TV. The advisor also pointed to growing global energy concerns following Iran's restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz. Rizoi said the least costly option for Washington would be to accept Iran's conditions and move toward ending hostilities. He also dismissed speculation about Iran's leadership, insisting the country remains firmly in control of its internal affairs. Parallelly, an Iranian security source has warned that continued U.S. naval actions could trigger an unprecedented response from Tehran. The report says Iran's forces, operating under the Qatar Al-Anbiya headquarters, believe their patience is rapidly running out. It adds that Iran is no longer a predictable adversary, having built resilience through years of conflict and pressure. The official noted that restraint so far has been aimed at giving diplomacy a chance and allowing space for negotiations. However, he warned that rejecting Iran's conditions could provoke a much stronger and more direct military reaction. The source also cautioned that continued disruption in the Strait of Hormuz could severely impact global energy markets. The source warned that a prolonged blockade could ultimately hurt the United States more than it harms Iran itself.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.